Hi, everyone. Welcome in. Feel free to drop in the comments where you're calling in from. We always like to see where everyone's located. Feel free to drop that in the chat. We'll just wait a little bit longer just for people to file in, but welcome. Maria and I are calling in from our office in San Francisco, so looking forward to sharing a little bit more about this newer functionality today. Awesome. Welcome, Christy. Cool. Awesome. Well, in the meantime, I will go ahead and kick off introductions here. My name's Allison. I'm with the customer success team here at Scribe. Really looking forward to sharing a couple new things we have here today. As usual, feel free to drop any questions in the little Q&A box at the bottom of the toolbar or the chat, but it's a little bit easier to get those questions answered in the Q&A box, but I'll pass it off to Maria.
Hi, everyone. My name's Maria. I'm calling in from San Francisco, as Allison mentioned, but super excited to just talk through these new features or launches from the past couple of weeks. But yeah, thank you guys all for joining.
Great. And you may also notice Meg is on the call today. She's also a part of the customer success team as well. She'll be helping assist with any questions that pop up. Don't hesitate to ask anything. We're happy to help. But I'll go ahead and get us going by launching just a couple of polls here just to gauge the audience. I'd love to first hear off with everyone's experience level with Scribe. That way we can try to tailor the call as much as possible, but feel free to fill that out. All right, great. Lots of individuals who've kind of played around with Scribe a bit, as well as some newer folks. So that's always great to see. Welcome. And then I'll go ahead and end that and then launch one more. This is a speed preference just to kind of see where everyone's at. Maybe you have a meeting after this, or maybe you want a nice steady walk, but appreciate you all filling this out. Helps us kind of fine tune a little bit. We'll leave that up just for a little bit longer while folks fill that out. And we'll get going with some intro slides. Great. Thanks, everyone. All right. I will go ahead and share my screen here. As you may know, this is a newer motion we've kind of introduced within the past few weeks, Scribe Spotlight. I see some newer users on the call as well. Something to note is we do actually offer another webinar series called Scribe 101, which is basically just an in-depth overview of Scribe as a tool overall, whereas Scribe Spotlight is a little bit more focused on a specific topic or a few functionalities. But feel free to drop any questions if you have anything about Scribe 101. But just a quick agenda for today. We'll kind of overview these slides, going over why using these functionalities matter, as well as actually show them live. We'll try to highlight as many best practices and use cases as possible. We really encourage you all to actually follow along today. So again, if you want to try to figure out some functionalities like tasks, you can always try on the back end, and then we'll leave some space for Q&A and some resources. But you might be wondering if you're newer or just a little bit more about Scribe. Our main goal is to help automatically document and scale how your work gets done. I feel everyone kind of knows us as the place that's going to help you document faster. However, we excel at a couple of other things, such as we help you find answers more easily, as well as we ensure your team's work gets done right. What I mean by that is when people start to implement Scribe within their workflows, they've noticed people are able to answer their questions more easily by themselves, less taps on the shoulder, asking you the same 5 questions, which who wouldn't like that, as well as people notice consistency starts to drive up because once everyone's kind of following the same workflows and on the same page, it starts to have positive impact. And that one specifically we'll see a little bit today, especially with our approval workflows that we'll be going over. So to quick highlight what approval workflows, some quick context here is this will be replacing the prior review queue if you're familiar with that. But essentially, approval workflows are the way to kind of guarantee that only approved and reviewed work is going live to your end users. So this really helps increase confidence that everything those end users and viewers are seeing is accurate and up to date, which is really nice because you get that peace of mind knowing, okay, someone's not following an outdated version, or, I'm just in the know of everything that's reaching our users. And then again, with that consistency piece, that's a huge goal of Scribe for you guys and your team, is to really drive up that consistency. But you might be wondering, how does this currently affect my already made documentation, or how does this really work? So I've broken it down into three. So the first one is new guides and new content won't be able to be shared or viewed by anyone except the creator and the team admins until it's approved. So we'll be highlighting kind of how this workflow works in a second, both from the creator standpoint as well as the team admins end. And then also for previously published work and versions, those will automatically stay visible. They're not going to go back into a publishing mode or approval mode. This is only going to go into effect if anything new or anything is changed within the documentation that's already available. So once an edit or an update is made to a document, then it would then trigger a approval workflow. And then in terms of rejected drafts, these will remain private while the last published version stays live. So almost think of it as you have an opportunity to try to draft and really craft your work to how you want, up to your standards until it's approved. And then once everyone's on the same page, it will go live, which is really great. Again, feel free to drop any questions and we'll go more in depth into how this actually works and looks in a second here. But this is just to give a quick overview and some context before we show you. The other functionality that's newer that we'll be showing you all today is language translation. So the nice thing is this has popped up time and time again where people are saying, okay, is this able to be translated into different languages? Well, good news is this is now something that we offer. Scribe allows you to translate your guides in 10 high demand languages instantly. Again, we'll show this how this works. But the nice thing is that every scribe could now be translated into one of these 10 languages, including all of the titles, headers, steps, even table of contents. And you might be wondering, what about pages? That's not currently available quite yet. However, down the line pretty soon here, that will also be something that's supported. And then in terms of how that looks for sharing wise, this will kind of be displayed in the language of choice if it's shared as a link, embedded, or even within like a movie functionality or a PDF export. So this is really nice, again, with that same concept of consistency and accessibility. You might be wondering what languages are supported. You can see they're highlighted below. We have, just to shout out a few, Spanish, French, Dutch, Russian, simplified Chinese, etc. But I'll leave this up just for 1 second, just so you guys can get a little familiar with the languages. All right, great. Well, now I will go ahead and pass it off to Maria to show how the approval workflows work from a creator standpoint.
Yeah, thanks so much, Allison, for giving a brief overview of our updates and new launches. And so I'm going to quickly share my screen. Let me see. All right. As this pulls up, what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to quickly take you guys through a workflow here, as you guys are probably already familiar with the process. So I'll quick go through this capture process. So I'm just going to be capturing a really simple test meeting, and then, I'll add a room here, and then I'll save and complete this capture. So once you create a scribe it'll take you through another page as you already know. And as you can see, once it creates that scribe for you, this pop-up will immediately appear. It says, only you can see the scribe, submit for approval, and share your know-how. This means that this scribe right now, because Allison, the team admin, has not yet approved it, will be visible only to me and will have a private setting. And so once I kind of go through, maybe edit a couple of things, type meeting name, I'm going to go ahead and submit for approval. And once I submit for approval, Allison should be seeing some sort of email on her end saying that I have requested for approval for a specific scribe. So Allison's going to go ahead and share what that looks like from her end as a team admin.
All right, great. So just to overview again, as a system admin, you would have to turn this on in the back end settings, but for a team admin, the way I would go ahead and see these approval requests is in the Scribe dashboard. So as you can see on this left-hand side with the little red dot notifying me, hey, there's something new here for me to look at, I could go ahead and click into this. Again, as Maria mentioned, I can see this all in one spot, but also get notified in a sense. So right now I can see all the ones that are waiting for my approval here. So I can see the document as well as who is sending me this document and for approval, what team they're coming in from. So if you are a admin of multiple teams, it's a way to kind of section it off here. And then additionally, when was this approval requested? So the way I would go ahead and review it is I would click review. It's going to take me to the scribe itself. Say, okay, let me make sure Maria had adjusted what I had intended her to do so. I could look, okay, great. Yay, she added step 3 like I wanted. I could go back up and I could say, oh, actually, maybe I want to add something else. So let me tell Maria to maybe make an additional change. I could go ahead and click request changes and add a comment. So maybe, hey, let me say, love the update here. Could you add in another step? Great. So I'll send that off. Again, same concept. I could go ahead and tell Maria this feedback. She'll get an email saying, hey, Allison actually tagged you within a scribe for more feedback. Maria can keep track of the comments within this little comments area up here, and so can I. And then in terms of the other side of it, if I wanted to do a approval, I would go ahead and click approve and publish. So I could give this a version name on the document, maybe Allison approved or whatever, completely optional. And then I could go ahead and approve and publish this. So then this now grants Maria access to be able to share the document as normal. Again, this is just a concept that Maria can take some drafting in the back end, pass it off to me for final review. I give a stamp of approval, and then Maria can go ahead and share out as normal. So this is really helpful if you're, maybe working on a large scale project. You want to make sure everything's kind of put together. But I will go ahead and pause just to see if anything comes up. Again, Meg is going to be assisting in the chat for any comments or questions that come up. All right, great. So I do want to point out another functionality that we do offer that sometimes is overlooked. So kind of this could go in tandem with the approval workflow request and all of this functionality is our tasks. So this is again located within our Scribe dashboard here. I've clicked into that. And so say maybe I'm having a large scale project as mentioned, and I kind of want to keep track of individual tasks and maybe tell Maria, hey, create the scribe for me. And then that way I know, okay, this is when I should expect for me to have it done and then when I can approve it. So if I wanted to add a task, I would go ahead and click add task. give it a little text description. So create a new scribe on the workday workflow to be approved. Great. Now I can go ahead and click unassigned and tag Maria into it. Again, she'll immediately get an email saying, hey, Allison's tagged you in a task. And then I could go ahead and click a due date. Maria's a little busy this week. I'll give her until the 15th. And then I could always, if, I know this one, I'm telling her, hey, could you create a new scribe? But maybe if you want to make a tweak on an existing scribe or anything like that, and you just want one place to keep track of this, you could always link a scribe or capture, create here, but you can link it in this link document and look up the scribe that's applicable to what you're saying. But since that's not really relevant to this task, I'll go ahead and just keep it as is. But yeah, this is really nice, again, because you can keep track of what's been done, what's been fixed, or what's ahead. I could go ahead and click into this little circle here and toggle in between it's still in progress and then also it's been completed. Once it's been completed, it will go off into my completed tasks in this area. So I can, again, keep a nice clean list of all relevant tasks in one place. And then outside of creating tasks for others, I can also add my own personal tasks too. All right, great. Well, I will pass it off to Maria to go over the exciting language translation.
Awesome. Approval workflows are always really exciting because it not only provides a super secure way to share scribes and make sure that it's available to your organization, but it's also a great way to keep in track who's creating scribes within your team. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen to go through the next feature that we recently launched, which is language translation. All right. So I'm kind of going to go through this in a sense of, say I am a viewer and I'm kind of looking through this Scribe workspace, and say I'm from Germany. The only language that I can understand and speak is German. So I'm going to go ahead and click this Scribe right here and say I want this to be translated to German. I'm going to go ahead and click these three dots on the upper right-hand side and click Translate. And as you can see, I can go ahead and click German. And what this does is, on the viewer's point of view or the end user's point of view, I'm able to read this in my native language. And so again, this is available for individuals in one of our higher modules. And so if this isn't something that you're currently seeing on your end, or if this is something that you're interested in deploying across your organization, if you're working across countries or with individuals who speak different languages, please feel free to comment interested and we'll go ahead and send you personalized email with all of this information. I'm going to pause here and see if you guys have any questions regarding this specific functionality here. And again, Meg and Allison will also be answering and keeping track of the chat in addition to the Q&A function. So feel free to ask questions there. Amazing. So similar to this, what individuals can do is, say you've embedded these different scribes into Notion or whatever sort of platform that you're currently using. If I go on Notion right here, and these are a couple of examples, you can actually find the translation button right here. So sometimes it'll be on the bottom, sometimes it'll be on the top, but regardless, it'll be adjacent to that scribe. So say I want to, again, translate to German. I can go ahead and see that in my native language. Awesome. Same thing with the scrolling functionality. You can translate to whatever language that you want. It'll go ahead and transfer or translate those descriptions for you. And then same thing with the movie functionality here. Amazing. Any questions regarding the embedding functionality and translation? Great. Awesome. The last example that I wanted to showcase was, say, one of your viewers, again, if you guys are on one of our higher modules and you have viewers licenses and that individual wants to kind of go through Sidekick, right? Say I'm on Zoom, I want to know something specific like maybe logging in or how to use and navigate the Zoom website. So I'm going to go ahead and click this How to Change Your Zoom Company Name right here by Isabella. And as you can see, we still have these three dots. And what we can do is go ahead and translate to, again, that native language. And so as we're kind of looking through the Scribe via the Sidekick, I'm also able to see that in whatever language that I choose and go through my process as usual. Awesome. Great. I think someone has asked, what about in Guide Me? Yeah, I'm happy to kind of go through what this might look like. So let's try here. Let's see. This will load. You can also do Guide Me on here. So let's go ahead and try Guide Me with that feature. Translate, German, Guide Me. Let's see. I think my screen is currently frozen. But we can also look to see if this function is supported by Guide Me for you. Awesome. As we kind of work through what that looks like, are there any other questions regarding translation? That's what I meant to that question when using Guide Me. Yes, we will go ahead and look into that for you in terms of what that looks like and whether it'll be translated as you go through those specific steps via Guide Me. Yes, language translation is going to be a game changer, especially for organizations who work across the globe. This is really amazing, and we're starting off with our 10 languages that Allison shared in the beginning, but hopefully in the future we'll have more. All right. In terms of the demo piece, that is all that we have today, but we're happy to answer questions as you guys think on them. So let's see, we have a couple ones here. Does it translate literal or does it adjust to make sense? Yeah, so it really translates to that language. Yeah, it translates literally.
In terms of the Guide Me functionality, Emily, I'm thinking because Guide Me is just going to essentially take that click target, place it on the site itself. There's not necessarily wording. So on our end, I'm not thinking that it would change the UI of that platform. It would just kind of continue that same motion of placing the click target on the platform itself. But we can go ahead and double check that on our end. And then Maria, it looks like Michelle is asking, can you show how to save a translated Scribe so we can keep the English version?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question, Michelle. And I'm going to quickly show. So basically, when you are clicking this translation button, this won't necessarily save to whatever language you're on. It'll be just changing to that specific viewer at that specific time. It's only when you share and export as a PDF will it actually export via that translation. So if you, as the viewer, want to toggle between German and then that original language, you can click original language here on the top, and it'll revert back to that original language. Good question.
And again, I know as Maria kind of mentioned here, with the language translation as well as the approval workflows, these are functionalities that are available on our higher up plans. So again, if you're interested, I know one individual commented already, we'll be in touch with you shortly. But if you do have any questions regarding, does my plan support this? What would that look like? What are the options? We're happy to always hop on a call or assist you via email. So feel free to type interested in the chat if you are. We'll also be sending out a recording as well with this, but Maria may show the next Scribe spotlights and what's ahead.
Yeah, so as we kind of close off, we are currently starting off October with a bang, our two larger new releases. And so for the rest of October, we'll be doing a couple of different things. One is going to be on branding, another is going to be highlighting how to make clearer documentation. Another is going to be Scribe office hours. So this is going to be an exciting new thing that we're starting. Just come by with questions. We won't necessarily have any demo for you, but we'll just be online to help answer any questions or brainstorm any ways to help you basically utilize Scribe a lot more efficiently. And then the last thing is going to be right answers right on time. So kind of going over a little more kind of go over those features within Scribe that will ensure that you have minimized risk. So feel free to join any or all of these for the entire month of October, but we're super excited to showcase a ton of other features here. Great. And as we kind of close off, I'm going to go ahead and send a link in the chat. If you guys would like to kind of keep track of what's new with Scribe, feel free to look through our launch notes. We always update these with our new releases. And so if you're interested or anyone on your org is, feel free to view that. But thank you all so much for joining. If you have any other questions, Meg has sent out our email address, and we'll also be sending out, again, follow-up emails. So feel free to respond to that or forward it to anyone else who may find it helpful. But thank you all for joining. Have a great rest of your Wednesday.
Thanks, everyone.